The archivist moved with trembling fingers. Deep beneath the surface of Arcosne, a planet wrapped in permanent storm clouds, sat the most heavily guarded building in the galaxy, the Celestial Archives. Not even the High Council dared enter without permission. It was here that the galaxy buried its secrets, wars erased, civilizations wiped clean, species vanished, and somewhere inside were records of Earth. The archivist was not a warrior. He was a slender Ralthusian, gray-scaled and hunched, with 2 wide eyes that had seen too much. He spent his life cataloging lies and hiding the truth, but something had changed. Something woke inside the archives 2 nights ago. An encrypted file, labeled simply, Terror, do not open. It had decrypted itself. No one knew how. No one knew why. But the system had broadcast a silent alert across 1,000 systems. Even though the signal had no voice, it echoed in every translator. They are coming now. The archivist stood in front of a black terminal deep underground. He touched the screen. It flickered, glitched, then displayed an old language, ancient Earth Standard English. The lights dimmed. Something cold crawled across the floor. And then, a video began to play. The image was grainy, clearly thousands of years old. It showed a battlefield, burned and broken, with metal skeletons of machines scattered across the dust. The sky was dark, filled with smoke. In the middle of the frame, a human, tall, armored, his face bloodied, spoke directly to the camera. This is Commander Yusef Cade. Date, 4061 AD. Earth has fallen, but we are not done. He paused, looking up at something in the distance. Explosions flickered behind him. They turned on us, all of them, the Council, the colonies, even the ones we helped build. They called us dangerous, too wild, too independent. They were right, but here's what they forgot. He leaned closer. We never needed their approval. We were just being polite. The video cut. Another began. This time, it showed a space battle. Human ships smaller than Council cruisers moved like ghosts, vanishing and reappearing in bursts of energy. Council forces fired in all directions, missing every shot. Then the Terran ships returned fire. 1 shot, 1 kill. Each beam struck perfectly. No wasted energy, no hesitation. The screen listed each destroyed ship with surgical precision. Then came the footage of a planet burning, but not Earth. It was a Council world. The screen showed thousands of civilians running as mechs-powered suits with glowing red visors walked through the streets. They didn't shoot randomly. They asked questions. Where are your leaders? Who signed the betrayal pact? Who gave the order to abandon Earth? When the civilians said they didn't know, the mechs walked away. They weren't here for revenge. They were here for justice. The archivist's hands were shaking. He tried to close the screen, but it didn't work. More files opened on their own. Dozens. Hundreds. Each one told a piece of a war the galaxy thought never happened. Earth had not been destroyed in a final stand. Earth had vanished. On purpose. They had faked their defeat, left behind ruins, vanished into deep space. And they took something with them, something no alien species had ever mastered: quantum stealth drive. It was tech so advanced it could hide entire fleets between seconds. While the galaxy celebrated Earth's extinction, humanity was watching. Waiting. Final video was not a battle, it was a meeting, a round table. 7 humans in armor sat in silence. A woman at the head stood up. The galaxy will forget us, she said. Let them laugh. Let them rewrite history. Let them believe we are dust. And in 3,000 years, when they no longer fear us, when our name becomes myth. She looked straight at the camera. We return not as diplomats, but as reckoning. Suddenly, the screen shut off. The archivist was no longer alone. A soft thud echoed in the chamber. He turned. A figure stood in the shadows, tall and human-shaped. The suit was unlike anything he had ever seen: black, silent, sharp-edged, like a predator's armor. 2 red eyes glowed beneath the helmet. Are you the one who opened the file? The voice was low, synthetic. The archivist tried to speak, but only a whisper came out. I didn't mean to. It decrypted itself. Swear. The figure didn't move. Then, after a long silence, it spoke again. Good. We wanted it opened. Why? The archivist asked. To remind the galaxy, to prepare them for what? The figure stepped forward. Its feet made no sound on the floor. It stopped inches from the archivist. For the trial of the stars. It said, for what's coming? Is it war? The archivist whispered, but the human nodded slowly. No, it's balance. For 3,000 years, the galaxy has lived without fear. It is time they remember why they feared Earth in the first place. With that, the figure vanished, literally fading into particles of light, and the archivist collapsed the next day. The celestial archives went into lockdown. Files related to Earth were missing. Entire records deleted. The galaxy panicked, but the panic was just beginning. Across the stars, other ancient signals started to awaken. Forgotten stations powered up. Mechs long thought dead began to hum. Colonies once considered ghost worlds showed signs of activity. The galaxy thought Earth was gone. They were wrong. They weren't gone. They were hidden, watching, evolving, and now humanity was making their return known. Not with a fleet, but with a warning. In the chambers of the Galactic Council, ambassadors argued. This is just old footage, one shouted. Fearmongering, then. Explain the disappearances, another growled. 3 scout ships missing, a trade route blacked out. Communication dead from Sector 9. A third ambassador, older and slower, stood up. Her eyes were glassy. I remember Earth, she whispered. I saw the Terran War. We betrayed them, we erased them. She turned, looked at the room full of liars, and now they remember us. Far beyond the known systems, in the dark between galaxies, the Phoenix sent Earth's last warship floated silently. Inside, thousands of cryo-chambers lined the walls. Each held a soldier, a warrior, a survivor of the fall. The ship's AI flickered to life. One message pulsed across the screens. Phase 3 initiated. Archives activated. The soldiers began to wake, and the stars would soon remember what fear felt like. The patrol ship Vinther's Eye glided silently through Sector K-17, near a dead star that hadn't glowed in centuries. It was supposed to be a quiet mission routine, boring, just another survey of cold space where nothing happened. But then, the alarms screamed. Power surge, shouted Lieutenant Skarn. Directly ahead, no known source. Captain Raelian, a veteran of 400 standard cycles, leaned forward in his command seat. Bring it on screen. The blackness of space blinked once. A shadow appeared. Then, from the darkness, a shape emerged. Massive, angular, old, and very human. The ship's AI flickered in confusion. Object identified. Error no match found. Attempting cross-reference. Designation Firewalker Station. Everyone froze. No, Captain Raelian muttered. That's impossible. That station was destroyed 3,000 years ago. Humans built it, then we wiped it out. Then why is it here? Someone whispered. The crew stared in silence. Firewalker Station. Once Earth's deep space defense hub, had been wiped from records after the human expulsion. It was a myth, a ruin, nothing more. But it was now right in front of them, alive, and it was powering up. The station's core flared red, not a soft pulse, but a war-grade reactor signature. The ship AI screamed again. Weapons, systems detected. Shields at 87%. Energy, build up a known tech signature. Captain Raelian stood up. Back us off, now. But before they could move, the station sent out a signal. Not an alien code, it was English. Just 2 words. Leave now. The signal rippled across nearby sectors. Other ships picked it up. A dozen patrol vessels converged on the area, curious and afraid. Then something stranger happened. Firewalker Station sent another message. This time, in every known galactic language. Warning. Earth property. Trespassers will be judged. The Council ordered full observation. A war fleet was dispatched by the time they arrived. The first patrol ship was gone. Only debris remained. No bodies, no distress signal. Just clean cuts and hull fragments. Like a surgeon had disassembled the ship mid-space, Firewalker Station rotated slowly. Like it was watching, but it didn't fire again. Not yet. Inside the Council warship High Order, Admiral Threx studied the station from afar. Send a drone, do not provoke it. The drone zipped forward, invisible to most scanners. Then, it vanished. Seconds later, Firewalker sent another message. We see everything, even your lies. Admiral Threx's jaw tightened. This isn't a ghost station, he said. This is a reawakening. In the Council chambers, the news spread fast. Firewalker was part of Earth's last defense grid, one ambassador said. It was equipped with autofactories, stealth mines, and gravitic weapons. But we destroyed it, another protested. Did we? The reply came. Or did we just think we did? They brought in an old prisoner, a human, one of the few captured during the Terran collapse. His body was aged beyond recognition, but when he heard the name Firewalker, he smiled. I told you, he whispered. We never lost. We simply waited. Back at Firewalker Station, something new began. The station opened a transmission gate. It wasn't a wormhole. It was a keyhole, a narrow, burning tunnel of space, and from within it, something crawled out. A ship, small, sleek, made of black alloy that shimmered like water. It bore the Terran symbol, a broken world surrounded by chains. The ship broadcast one word: trial. Then it flew directly toward the nearest council outpost. No shots fired, no warnings given, and within minutes the outpost went dark. Inside Firewalker, hidden systems reawakened. A voice, human but not human, echoed through the corridors. Protocol restoration, 85% complete. Memory banks linked. Sentinel units deploying. Then, a door opened, and out stepped something not seen in 3,000 years. A Terran warden, humanoid, but larger, stronger, wrapped in living armor. It stood at the edge of the docking bay and looked into the stars. I am Firewalker, it said. I guard what was broken, I return what was taken. Its eyes glowed and the galaxy shivered. On board the council warship, Admiral Threx decided to act. Prepare strike teams. Disable the station. They launched 20 drop pods, fast, armored, equipped with EMPs. Only one made it to the station. The moment the pod touched the station's surface, its crew lost contact. Inside they found no resistance at first, just silence. Then a hallway lit up, and a voice whispered from the walls. You walk in graves. The floor opened beneath them. They were gone, no explosions, no remains, just silence. And then the station sent a final message. You chose this. We remember everything. Back on Earth, deep in the starless sector known as the Void Cloak, an old warship received Firewalker's signal. The crew, humans in strange armor, faces hidden behind glass visors, stood in silence. Their leader, a woman with white hair and cybernetic eyes, stepped forward. Has it begun? One of them asked. She nodded. Phase 4, she said. They found Firewalker. Do we join? No, we wait. Let them remember who started the fire. She walked to the observation deck, stared at the dark galaxy, and whispered, let the stars watch their own judgment unfold. 3 days later, the council held an emergency summit. Firewalker Station is not just alive, a technician said. It's broadcasting a pattern. We think it's waking up others. Others, yes. More stations. More Terran relics. How many? The technician looked down. All of them. The chamber went quiet. Then the screen behind them turned black. A symbol appeared, dread and ancient. A Terran code. It read, Phase 4, activated. The council had no idea what it meant, but deep in the hearts of the oldest species, fear returned, because 3,000 years ago they thought they erased Earth. Now, Earth was reminding them what erasure truly meant. Terraka Prime was called the City of Stars. Its skyline floated high above the clouds on crystal towers, powered by grav fields that shimmered like sunlight on water. The people of Terraka believed they were teachable. After all, was the capital of the Galactic Council's inner core, surrounded by fleets, guarded by the strongest planetary shield system in known space. But then, the sky changed. It began with a flicker. Just after midnight, the stars above Terraka dimmed. For exactly 0.6 seconds. No one noticed except the defense grid AI. It flagged the anomaly, checked for errors, and dismissed it. 2 hours later, the stars went black. Captain Yelrin stood at her post inside Taruka's Skyguard command, sipping hot stim coffee, watching defense scans. Nothing unusual. Until her screen blinked red. Sensor shadow detected Sector 0. She frowned. That can't be right. Sector 0 was space itself. There was nothing in that direction for 20 light-years, just open void. She pinged the skycams. They showed darkness. No stars. No satellites, no signal, just black. As if something massive, something planet-sized, was sitting between Terraka and the rest of the galaxy. Minutes later, the military stations lit up. Admiral Cross was pulled from sleep. He reviewed the readings with cold, shaking hands. Visual feed now. A live skycam opened. Every officer stared upward in silence. The sky had changed. No clouds, no moon. Only a shape. Not fully visible but clearly there, an outline. A circle so massive it blocked out the stars like an eclipse. But it wasn't the size that terrified them. It was the design. 2 glowing red lines cut across the darkness, blinking slowly. A Terran symbol. Cross whispered, it's a warship. No, sir, said one technician. It's a fleet. Suddenly, the power grid trembled. 1 by 1, lights shut off across Terraka. Defense satellites blinked out. Shields flickered and dropped. Backup systems failed. Something was inside their network no one had ever cracked. Tarika's planetary firewall, not even the council themselves, but now, strange code, ran across every screen. Simple Earth script from 3,000 years ago. Protocol. Eclipse. Phase 5 initiated. Then every emergency broadcast system came to life. One voice. Human.com/cold. We watched you forget us. We watched you erase us. We warned you now. We remind you. The Terran fleet became fully visible. 30 ships, each the size of a city. Black alloy, silent engines, no running lights, no registration codes. And in their center floated the Leviathan, a ship lost to time, a human dreadnought rumored to be myth. 10 times larger than any known vessel. Designed in Earth's final days, never confirmed, the kind of warship the Council claimed could never exist. And now it was above Ter, aka waiting. In the Council Tower, politicians screamed at each other. Send everything we have. They haven't fired. Maybe it's a warning. We can't wait. Fleet Admiral Nyros stepped forward. Even if we fire, we cannot win. These ships are operating beyond our tech. We are the Council, one ambassador roared. They are primitives. No, Nyros said. Not anymore. They were quiet for 3,000 years. We let ourselves believe. Silence meant death. He turned toward the screen, but silence was their weapon. Back in orbit, a single shuttle launched from the Leviathan. It was small, unarmed. It glided toward Taraka like a leaf on water. No escorts, no protection. The Council hesitated. They could have destroyed it instantly. But they didn't. The shuttle landed in Taraka, Issa Central Plaza. From it stepped one man, human, no armor, no weapons. He wore an old Earth officer's coat, torn, scorched. A single badge gleamed on his chest: Terror, Wrath, Division. He stood before thousands of armed guards, alone, and he spoke only 5 words: "Bring me the Council now." They tried to arrest him, but every weapon jammed, every camera went dark. The guards felt something, ancient, heavy, like gravity was being rewritten around this man. He wasn't powered by tech. He was powered by history. And every step he took reminded the galaxy that they had made one critical mistake. They let Earth feel mercy. Now, Earth was done feeling anything. The Council finally gathered. The chamber was tense. "State your name," one alien demanded. The man stood tall. "I am Commander Reese Arden, last captain of Earth's orbital guard. I watched Earth burn. I buried my fleet. And I watched you celebrate. We did what was necessary." "No," Reese said coldly. "You did what was easy." He stepped forward. "You erased our species from records. You turned our children into footnotes. You called us savages, warmongers, beasts." He looked around the chamber. "And yet here we are, at your doorstep, quiet, measured, patient." He smiled. "That should terrify you." The Council High Speaker stood. "What do you want?" Reese tilted his head. "You still don't get it." He raised his hand. Far above, the Leviathan turned. Sky dimmed once more. "This isn't a war," Reese said. "It's the verdict." And without firing a single shot, Taraka went dark. No explosions, no violence. Just blackout. The Terran fleet vanished, leaving nothing but silence in their wake. No one died, but every citizen of Taraka would never forget that night, because fear returned. Real fear, the kind that doesn't come from death, but from knowing death could arrive at any moment and be merciful compared to what's coming. 3 hours later, a transmission echoed across the galaxy. Phase 5 complete. Taraka remembered. Phase 6 begins. The reckoning worlds. The galaxy now knew. Humanity had not returned for conquest. They had returned for balance. And they were just getting started. They called them reckoning worlds, planets that once stood against Earth during the Great Cleansing. Worlds that betrayed treaties. Worlds that hosted the fleets which bombarded human colonies. Worlds that laughed when Earth was silent. Now they were first on the list. But the strange thing was, no ships were attacked, no bombs were dropped, no cities exploded, and yet they burned, not with flame but with fear. The first was Durus, the 9th desert world, famous for its warfare. 3,000 years ago it manufactured the orbital cannons that struck Earth's moon. Today, its skies shimmered with red static. It began as a hum, low, soft, growing louder. No one noticed until birds flew into buildings, until water turned black, until children began sleepwalking into the night. Then came the blackout. Every screen on the planet flickered at once. A human face appeared, masked, ancient, armor, and a voice whispered in every language. "Judgment is not fire, it is remembrance." That was the last normal moment for Duras X. Within an hour, the planet's AI systems collapsed. Food printers jammed, medical pods locked, every ship's engine refused to ignite. The people panicked, but still, no one fired a shot. No fleet appeared. No Terran soldiers arrived. Then a second message came. "This is how it begins. Not with war, but with withdrawal. We will take from you what you once took from us." A week later, Duras X was quiet. No life was lost, but every satellite, drone, power core, and machine-gone. Vanished. Scavengers, who later returned, found only bones, not of people, but of technology. Entire vaults empty, weapons removed. Factories gutted. As if the Terrans had taken back every stolen invention Earth ever seeded. And in the sky, one sentence floated in orbit made of glowing nanodust. Duras has paid. The next reckoning world was Phalos, once a trading capital, now a wealthy neutral hub. They tried to hide. They shut down their ports, activated stealth fields, blocked every signal, and still, the lights went out. They woke up to find their sky mirroring them. Literally. Above the clouds, a perfect mirror stretched from horizon to horizon, a shimmering reflection of the planet itself only, different. In the mirrored sky, buildings were cracked, smoke rose from ruins, people ran in, panic, but it wasn't real, or was it? When one man reached up to touch the mirror with a drone, the drone melted. Then came the voice. You showed Earth no mercy when she begged. Now you see what could have been. We offer you your future. For 5 days Phalos lived with the mirror, watching their own destruction. Minute by minute no one died, but hundreds left the planet, thousands went mad, and the mirror never moved, until, finally, it shattered like glass, and left behind a single word floating in orbit. Spared. Then came the worst of them all, Relith Prime, a military stronghold, unforgiving. Unrepentant. It was Relith's bombs that hit Earth's oceans first, boiling the waves, starving the sky. Even now, they refused to apologize. We acted in galactic interest, said High Commander Brock. The humans were unstable. We gave them peace. He sat inside a fortress shielded by quantum bunkers and triple redundant defense rings, and yet one morning he awoke in a different room. It looked identical, same furniture, same window, same air, but it wasn't real. Outside the window, the stars were wrong. His guards were gone. His systems didn't respond, and then, across the wall, words began to carve themselves letter by glowing letter. This is the Chamber of Echoes. You live now in your own decisions. His screams were never heard. No one could find him. From that day forward, every military leader on Relith began to vanish, one by one, not killed, just gone. Their homes untouched, their weapons undisturbed. No one was left in command. And then the city walls displayed the final message. No fire, no blood, only truth. By now, the galaxy knew. This was not a war. This was precision memory, the kind that haunted, the kind that erased only those who thought they had forgotten Earth in the background. Human broadcasts filled the void, each one calm, measured, icy. This is not revenge. This is correction. Your past belongs to us now. On the edge of council space, a group of exiled Terran scientists watched from a hidden moon. One of them, a woman named Dr. Alira Voss, stared into the stars. Think we want power, she said, but we don't. We want understanding. Her assistant looked up. Then why the fear? She answered with a tired smile, because they understood us far too late. Then came a surprise. One reckoning world resisted. Carlos Theater, cold mountainous planet, launched a preemptive strike. They fired hundreds of missiles into deep space, hoping to destroy anything waiting in orbit. Nothing responded. Their skies remained calm. Until morning, when every mountain on the planet began to sink slowly into the ground. Not from explosion, but from weight. Invisible force pressed down. Mines collapsed. Cities tilted. Water reversed direction. One final message appeared. Mass adjusted to match your crimes. Do not rebuild. Not one Terran was seen during the reckoning. No face, number, ship, no soldier. Only messages. Only memory. Only silence. Inside the council itself, cracks began to form. Some begged for peace. Some wanted surrender. Others argued it was all illusion. But the Terrans never replied. They simply continued. Then the biggest fear arrived. An old planet, one untouched so far, Xanathi Prime, a species once close to humans before the betrayal. They waited nervously, but the skies never changed. No signal came. One day passed, then two, then a week, until finally, one message did appear. You chose mercy, you shall have it. Phase 7 begin. And with those words, the reckoning ended. No mass graves, no space battles. Don't space battles. Just ghosts of justice. And now something else began, because in the shadows of the galaxy, Earth had built something else. Something bigger than war. Something even the council couldn't explain, and it was moving. Deep in the cold void between stars, far beyond the mapped edge of the council's reach, something stirred. Not a fleet, Not a city, not a signal that it was quiet, sleeping, waiting, and it had a name. Not in any known language but in old Earth code. The last file ever written by a dying AI after the fall of Earth, it read, Project Aurora Fury, do not activate, but humanity did. Thousands of years ago, Earth was dying, its skies burned, oceans boiled, and orbital bombardment shattered. Its countenance, the Council had declared it neutralized. But Earth had a final plan, not a weapon of war. A living archive, a fusion of AI, dark matter, and quantum consciousness, too dangerous to build, too powerful to test. It wasn't designed to kill, it was designed to rewrite reality itself. Earth's scientists called it the choice breaker, because, once it was activated, every enemy would lose choice. Not by death but by absolute control of physics, a gravity bomb, a thought jammer, a time-slowing field, one device that could make entire planets forget how to fight back. But Earth never used it. They hid it deep beneath Europa's ice moon, buried so far beneath the surface that not even deep scans could reach it. They programmed it to stay dormant, unless one condition was met. If humanity is erased, and the galaxy forgets us, awaken now 3,000 years later. That condition was fulfilled. Commander Rhys Arden stood aboard the Leviathan, high above a dying blue star. In front of him hovered a projection of the device, a sphere of light and shadows, slowly spinning. Around it, ancient Terran code pulsed like a heartbeat. Aurora Fury status active. Behind him, Admiral Sora Vance stepped forward. You sure about this? Rhys didn't answer at first. He stared out at the stars. They took everything, he said. Our home, our names, our story. Even now they call us invaders. But this is different. Once we release it, there's no turning back. Sora finished. Rhys nodded slowly. But we're not here to destroy the galaxy, he said. We're here to wake it up. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council gathered for an emergency broadcast. The reckoning had silenced dozens of key worlds. No soldiers, no ships, just fear, memory, justice. But now, new reports had arrived. Unreal reports on the world of Crevo. Physics had stopped working, gravity reversed, oceans floated into the sky, and clocks moved backward. On the moon, every person heard the same dream of Earth, burning, whispering, watching. Then came the code, broadcast into every major system. The weapon awakens. This is not destruction, this is understanding. Learn or be removed. Panic broke across the council. What kind of weapon is this? One ambassador shouted. It's not a weapon, whispered High Speaker Lurek. It's punishment with mercy. Back on the Leviathan, the crew made final preparations. A Terran scientist, Dr. Elira Voss, stood in the heart of the launch bay. I designed half this code, she admitted. But even I don't understand what it's become. It's evolving. Into what? Someone asked. She hesitated. A lesson. They launched the choicebreaker into deep space. No one saw it, no explosion, no light. Only silence. Then, across 5 sectors, reality shivered. Ships stopped mid-flight. Weapons wouldn't fire. AI systems began singing old Earth lullabies. Entire fleets powered down, and from nowhere, a map appeared drawn in the stars themselves. A path, leading to a single point, a place unmarked on every galactic chart, but humans remembered it was Earth. The Council tried to stop it. They scrambled fleets, they jammed transmissions, they launched missiles into the void. All failed because the weapon didn't fight back. It unmade the concept of conflict. Across the galaxy, one by one, ships turned. Worlds hesitated. All attention shifted to the one place thought dead. Earth. Its sky was still scorched. Its cities gone. But now lights were returning. From orbit, ancient human satellites began blinking. And on the surface, the ground moved. Mountains rebuilt themselves. Forests returned in hours. The oceans refilled. And at the heart of Earth, a voice echoed not from a speaker, but from gravity itself. You forgot us. You erased us. Now you remember. Aboard the Leviathan, Rhys stood silently, watching the rebirth of his homeworld. One officer whispered, "Is it over?" Rhys shook his head. No. This was the reminder. He turned toward the stars. Now comes the invitation. For the first time in 3,000 years, Earth sent a message to the galaxy. Simple, clear, unavoidable. We do not seek war. We offer memory, justice, and a chance. The weapon you fear is not your enemy, it is your mirror. The message ended with a single request. Come to Earth. See what we became, if you dare. Some laughed, some cried, others began the journey. The galaxy had seen many weapons, but none like this. None that made you face your own past. None that let you choose your fate. And as they traveled toward the once dead planet, every being asked the same question: what will humanity do next? Because they all felt it now. The weapon wasn't the end. It was just the key to something far greater, something still hidden, something that could rewrite the stars themselves. For 3,000 years, Earth had been silent, burned, broken, forgotten by the galaxy that once feared it. Now, ships from every corner of space turned toward the Sol system. They didn't come in peace. They didn't come in war. They came in uncertainty because Earth had returned, and it had called them back. Above the planet, thousands of alien vessels hovered in silent formation. No weapons raised, no shields active, just watching. The planet below didn't look like the dead rock from ancient records. It had changed. Massive green continents had reformed. Oceans shimmered under artificial suns. Storms danced like silver lace across the sky guided by weather, and floating above the surface were rings of Terran machines, some shaped like petals, some like massive wings. They weren't defenses, they were invitations. One by one, shuttles descended, from the Zarkani who once led the bombardment, from the Relith, now leaderless, even from the Veltran monks, who had once warned, erased them before they evolved. And at the center of it all, atop the remains of old Geneva, a single structure stood. It looked human, stone and metal, but it breathed, its walls pulsed with light. Its design was not made by hand, but grown through memory. This was the core. Inside, Earth waited. Admiral Rhys Arden stood inside the core's main hall. He wasn't alone. Beside him stood a child, barefoot, silent, glowing faintly blue. It wasn't a real child. It was Earth's voice, the living echo of every Terran who had ever died. A memory given form. Are they ready? Rhys asked. The child tilted its head. They fear what they did, but fear is the first step toward choice. And what if they lie? What if they fake peace again? The child's eyes flashed. Then they will face the last truth. The first alien delegate to arrive was High Speaker Vaughn of the Council. He stood in silence, staring at Earth's core. I expected ruins, he said. You erased our ruins, Rhys replied. We built something else. You brought fear to half the galaxy. No, Rhys said. We brought memory. And now, you choose. The child stepped forward. Its voice echoed in every delegate's mind. You destroyed Earth to stop an idea, but we survived, not in flesh, but in will. And now we offer two paths. Path 1, you deny your crimes. You keep power. You walk away. Path 2, you remember. Truly you share truth. You rebuild the galaxy with us, not as rulers, but equals. One leads to silence, one leads to rebirth. Outside, the ships watched. Inside, the galaxy held its breath. One by one, the delegates responded. Some, like the Relith, fell to their knees. We were wrong, they whispered. We built our thrones on ash. Others, like the Zarkani, hesitated. Their leaders had vanished in the reckoning. We want peace, they said. And some walked out, refused to kneel, refused to admit they were allowed to leave. No, ships followed them, but every being knew they would never be trusted again. Then came the final message. The core's walls opened, showing a black sky above. A new kind of star had formed there. It wasn't fire. It was memory. Billions of human voices all merged into one great light, and from that star, words burned across the night. The galaxy ends two ways: by forgetting us, or by remembering what you made us become. In the coming days, something extraordinary happened. Not war, not rule, but alignment. The surviving council worlds voted to dismantle the old order. Earth was invited to lead but to guide. History was rewritten, truths unburied. The word human no longer meant threat. It meant reminder. But not all accepted peace. A few fled deep into the edges of space. Some plotted return. Some whispered of another war. Someday. And Earth let them go. Because Earth had no interest in conquest anymore. It had something far more terrifying. Clarity. In time, the Leviathan fleet was no longer needed. Rhys stepped down. Sora Vance became Earth's first memory speaker. And Dr. Alira Voss began work on the Shared Recall Network, a galactic system that would store all tragedies, so no one could bury them again. And the child, the voice of Earth, was asked one final question. Will humanity ever disappear again? It smiled. No, it pointed to the stars. We are everywhere, not in ships, not in power, but in what? They now remember, and then it vanished. A symbol complete 3,000 years ago, humanity fell in silence. Now, it rose in truth, not as kings, not as monsters, but as the mirror no empire could break. The ship drifted above a shattered world. It had no name in the current galactic records, Just a string of old coordinates and a warning classy remnant. Avoid, but to humans, it was sacred ground. They called it Red Waker, forgotten. Battlefield where the last defenders of Earth had died 3,000 years ago, and now they had returned. Admiral Rhys Arden stood at the front of the observation deck aboard the Leviathan. Around him, the stars flickered, but his eyes were locked on the scarred surface below. "Is it really here?" asked Captain Voss quietly. Rhys didn't answer, he simply pointed. Through the storm clouds of ash and debris, the remains of an ancient structure came into view, a broken arch of metal and stone, with a single word still visible across its ruined entrance: Terran Legion, Omega. Thousands of years ago, Red Wake was the site of Earth's final defense beacon, not a weapon, a message station. It broadcast humanity's last words to the stars. Words no one had listened to. Until now. The Leviathan landed with a low groan on the surface. The air was toxic, the gravity thin, but the team pressed on. Their suits clicked as they walked through the ruins, past the melted hulls of Terran tanks, past the fossilized bones of both humans and aliens. It wasn't just a battlefield, it was a mass grave. And yet, deep below, something still pulsed. They found it in the heart of the bunker. A sphere of old Terran texture cracked, but somehow still alive. A voice activated when they entered. Not a machine voice, a human voice, filled with sorrow. "If you are hearing this, Earth has already fallen. This station holds our last memory, our last stand. We did not fight to win, we fought to be remembered." The team stood frozen. Dr. Elira Voss stepped forward. She placed a small memory crystal into the device. It responded instantly. The walls lit up. Holograms of long-dead soldiers appeared, laughing, singing, fighting. Not simulations, real people, their faces, voices, final words. A young woman crying over a letter from Earth. An old commander telling his troops to die with stories, not regrets. A medic shielding alien civilians during the bombing. They had died, but their memories had not. Rhys watched, silent. "These were our ancestors," he said. "Not heroes, just people." Captain Voss nodded. "And now, the galaxy will see what they did." Rhys turned to the rest of the team. "Copy everything, restore it, spread it." Back in space, the Terran broadcast system roared back to life. And across hundreds of systems, the past was uploaded. Every soldier's memory, every recorded scream, every final poem scratched into metal. They weren't threats, they were humans begging to be remembered. The galaxy froze. Worlds that once cheered Earth's destruction now saw it up close. A child holding a teddy bear on a refugee ship, a captain choosing to crash into a cruiser to save a colony, a human diplomat refusing to leave without rescuing the enemy ambassador. The message was clear: we were not monsters, you just didn't care. The council scrambled. They tried to shut down the transmissions, but it was too late. The memories were viral. They lived now in machines, in minds, in dreams. Even alien children began playing games called Terran Last Stand. Some cried, some protested, and some began to question everything. Meanwhile, on Red Wake, Rhys uncovered a sealed vault. Inside was a letter, real paper, old Earth script. It read, "To whoever finds this, we didn't survive. But if you're reading this, then maybe our deaths weren't wasted. We only ever wanted a chance, a voice, and maybe someone to tell our story. If that's you, don't let them forget again." Rhys folded the letter slowly. "I won't." Back on the Leviathan, the crew stood together. The memory system was now broadcasting 24/7. Stories of the dead. Unfiltered. Unchanged. Unforgiven. The galaxy had tried to erase Earth, but the ghosts of humanity had returned, not with weapons, with truth. And as the next fleet prepared to rise from the Sol system, more advanced, more united, more human than ever, Rhys looked at the stars and whispered, "You killed us, but you didn't end us. And now, the dead are speaking." 3,000 years after Earth's fall, a signal came back online. No one believed it at first. The Council had long erased all traces of the Terran systems. Their planets were marked as cleansed, their networks purged, their languages banned. So when a faint, repeating pulse echoed across 5 sectors, no one recognized it. No one, except a single machine. An old Wara AI stored deep beneath a Council archive on Eltheria Prime picked it up that the signal was in Terran code, and it was alive inside the archive. The AI designated Observer-9-reawakened. It decrypted the pulse, with shaking data threads. Then it spoke 3 words the galaxy hadn't heard in centuries: "Humanity has returned." Moments later, Observer 9 self-destructed, but not before the signal was forwarded to every major empire. In the Council's High Assembly, alarms rang out. High speaker Lurik hissed, "Is this a trick?" Earth was silenced. But the signal was undeniable. A low hum, repeating every 7 seconds, a code buried in rhythm. And at the center of the pattern coordinates to Sol, Earth's system, a scout ship was sent. Just one stealthed cautious. It never returned. Only one file made it back. A recording. 4 seconds long, blackness, a hum, then suddenly an eye, a mechanical eye, human-made. It blinked once, and whispered, "We remember." Across the galaxy, panic spread. Terran tech was impossible to replicate. It was too unstable, too advanced, and yet now it was moving. The pulse had changed. Now it sent more than coordinates, it sent images, ancient Earth cities, restored, spaceports-active.mechs, rising from underground vaults, and behind them humans, in armor, thousands, silent, watching. Meanwhile, on the far edge of the galaxy, in a hidden sector only Terran descendants knew about, a massive fleet prepared, the Sol Vanguard, 500 ships. Each one powered by fusion cores thought extinct, each one rebuilt from wreckage humans had hidden under alien noses. At the command bridge stood Admiral Sora Vance, her eyes locked on a star map. "The signal worked," she said. "They know we're awake." Beside her, the AI known as Echo pulsed. "They're scared. They should be," Vance said. "Now they get to feel what we felt when they erased us." But it wasn't revenge she wanted. It was recognition. The galaxy didn't just destroy Earth, it destroyed its truth, its name, its memory. This signal, the one the galaxy feared, wasn't an act of war. It was a reminder, a call to face what they buried, and it was just beginning. Back in council space, fear turned to chaos. People demanded answers. Who were the humans? Where had they been hiding? Why had the council lied? Old historians were arrested. Archives were sealed, but it was too late. The signal had already spread to civilian networks. Alien children were now singing parts of the Terran Broadcast as lullabies. Some called it a virus, others called it a miracle. The pulse changed again. This time, it carried a message, spoken in perfect galactic common. "We are the children you left behind. We are the storm you planted. You forgot our names. Now you will learn them again. We are not here to conquer. We are here to be remembered." Suddenly, across 10 sectors, lights began to go dark. Weapons failed. Shields flickered. Old Terran satellites, long thought destroyed, activated. They didn't fire, they simply watched. Broadcasting names, faces, stories of the dead, one after another. The galaxy tried to jam the signal, but it had already spread, through trade networks, pirate tunnels, forgotten probes. Every star now echoed with one terrible truth. Earth was not gone. Earth had been waiting. On the Leviathan, Admiral Rhys Arden stared at the signal report. He didn't smile, he didn't celebrate, he simply said, "They hear us now." Captain Alira Voss, scanning the signal architecture, whispered, "They'll want to silence us again." Rhys nodded. "Let them try. This time, we're not broadcasting from weakness." He looked out at the stars. "This time, we're stronger than the silence." The pulse kept going, now faster, louder, deeper, and then, it stopped, just for 1 minute. Then, a new voice came, old wise, human, message complete. Next phase, the reckoning begins.